A lot of us have spent years in a language class, right? Just memorizing verb charts and vocabulary lists. But today, we're going to ask a much bigger question, one that goes way beyond just translating words.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Why do we actually bother? Why do we spend all that time and effort trying to learn a whole new way of speaking?
And look, for most people, the answer is pretty practical. You learn a language to get a better job, maybe you want to study abroad, or just order a coffee without pointing on your next vacation. Is a tool, something for your own personal toolkit. And hey, that's a great reason. But what if that's only half the story?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. A scholar, D.T. Williams, puts forward a totally different idea, that learning a language isn't just about what you can get, it's about who you can become. It's about this thing called cultural decentering, which is basically a fancy way of saying you're stepping outside your own bubble to genuinely understand someone else's. And suddenly, that has real moral and even civic weight to it.
So this brings us to our first big idea, really digging into that deeper why. And what we find in the research is that there are really two completely different paths you can take with language education. It's a choice between seeing it as just a skill, a tool, or seeing it as something that can totally transform you and the world around you. Okay, so let's break it down. On one side, you've got that instrumental path we just talked about. It's useful, it's practical, it gets you stuff. But on the other side, you have the educational path. And this is a much bigger, more ambitious idea. The goal here is to develop yourself and society, to actually foster democratic values and become a more engaged citizen. It's a tool for civic engagement.
And this isn't some new, out-there concept. Michael Byram was arguing this over 20 years ago. He said that teaching a foreign language absolutely has educational and, yeah, even political responsibilities. It's not neutral. It fundamentally shapes how we see the world and our place in it.
So, you might be wondering, okay, that sounds great, but how do we actually do that? Well, the answer lies in this really powerful concept called intercultural citizenship. This is where the big ideas start to look like something we can actually put into practice.
So what is intercultural citizenship? Well, it's all about connecting what happens inside the classroom to real action outside of it. It's saying, hey, it's not enough to just learn about another culture's holidays. The real goal is to use your new language skills to get your hands dirty, to engage with real issues in a real community, whether that's down the street or on the other side of the planet.
Here's what that might look like. It's a pretty simple but powerful two-step process. First, you get students from different countries to actually work together on something. And second, and this is key, they don't just write a paper. They team up to tackle a real social issue that they all care about.
And that is the crucial difference, right there. The old way teaches us about the world, like we're tourists looking through a window. This new model teaches us how to act in the world. It changes language from just a subject you study to a tool you use to actually make a difference.
Now, to make a shift this big, you need more than just a few new lesson plans. You need a whole new way of thinking, a whole new paradigm. And it comes down to rethinking what we focus on, the language itself, or the people who speak it.
Think of it like this. For a long time, we've been stuck in what Jose Manuel Vez calls the paradigm of languages. Here, the language itself is the focus. It's an object you have to perfect and master. But the new idea is the paradigm of users. And in this model, the focus is totally different. It's on the people, on the speakers. The goal isn't perfect grammar. It's communication. It's connection.
Yeah, the old paradigm treats language kind of like this, like an ancient text under glass in a museum, something static that you study and dissect, but not something that's alive and messy and constantly changing.
And this quote from Vez just nails it. The real subject of education shouldn't be the rules of the language. It should be the people, the speakers who use that language to argue, to laugh, to create, to connect, to live.
Okay, so once you start thinking this way, focusing on the users, it opens up this whole universe of amazing new possibilities for what a language classroom can actually be.
So get this new mindset leads to some wild ideas. I mean, imagine learning your history class in French, not just learning French in French class, or focusing on just being able to understand Italian and Portuguese because they're related, without stressing about speaking them perfectly. So cool. But my absolute favorite idea on this list is the last one, the personal adoptive language.
What a concept, right? This isn't just learning any old second language. This is a language you choose for yourself. It's not your native tongue, and it's not a global language you feel like you have to learn, like English. It's one you pick to form a really deep,
personal, cultural connection with. It almost becomes like a second mother tongue.
And the thinking behind this is really profound. It's about building a society, in this case they were talking about Europe, that values two things at the same time: the common values that we all share as humans, and the incredible, beautiful diversity of all our different cultures. And of course, language is right at the heart of that.
So we'll leave you with this to think about. What would actually change in our schools, in our communities, in our world, if we all decided that the main goal of learning a new language wasn't to be perfectly fluent, but to become a better, more engaged, more empathetic citizen? What would that world even look like?